Thank you. Welcome to the Wareham Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. We have Sandy, Ron, Denise, Michael, and Carol, and welcome Denise. She is now a full voting member. Thank you so very much. We were given 7 sets of minutes, and it was brought to my attention that we didn't have an action on those minutes. It should say approve the minutes, the meeting minutes, and they don't. So we have an option to either say that the minutes are correct and vote on them at the next meeting, or just wait and do everything at the next meeting. Any preference?
I say just do it all at one time, one and done.
So delay the minutes until the next meeting, and they will be posted as to approve the minutes for these 7. Is that all right with you?
It's fine with me.
So they'll be on the next agenda so that we actually say that we are going to vote approval of these minutes. Okay. God, there goes 3 hours to review 7 sets. Okay.
And whatever other ones come in.
And whatever other ones come in, yes. All right. Public hearings, please.
All right. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 320, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass, on the notice of intent for Kenneth and Linda Duffy, care of J.C. Engineering Incorporated, 2854 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Mass. 02538, to upgrade a septic system and to place fill located on Assessor's Map 3A-5, Lot 42B, 44A, 44B, 46B, and 46C, 31 Cleveland Avenue, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. And who's here to represent the project?
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Bichette, your turn.
The project site is at 31 Cleveland Ave, and the project involves upgrading a septic system in the buffer zone to salt marsh and within a coastal flood zone. An existing cesspool, which is only 20 feet from the edge of the salt marsh at this time, is to be replaced with a new Title V nitrogen-reducing septic system. The new leach field would be approximately 56 feet from the edge of the marsh. The system would be a raised system and would have a block retaining wall on 3 sides of the new leach field as shown on the plan. Grading will be done around the septic tanks, also as shown on the plan, and there will need to be a volume of fill brought in to achieve those grades. Dewatering may be required to install the tanks for the system. The work area is the existing landscape yard, which is relatively flat, and they do provide a hay bale containment area if dewatering is necessary. Hay bales and silt fence will be placed between the work and the resource area, as shown on the plan. We did get a DEP file number for the project, so I would recommend the issuance of the order of conditions with the standard conditions and the added conditions for dewatering.
Brian, anything to add?
No, that describes it.
Questions? Carol?
No questions.
Ron?
No questions.
Denise?
No questions.
Michael?
No questions.
I'm going to make a comment. These landowners are going to give up a garden that has been maintained for over 30 years in order to put in a septic system, a Title V. I just can't believe losing something that Linda so loves in order to protect our waters. That's a great plus for that couple. And she says, we've been trying to do it, but I just can't all those plants. She did agree that anything left over she'll give to me so I can donate to the garden club. So, anybody here for this project? I'm seeing none.
Motion to close the hearing?
I have a motion to close the hearing and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. And before you start the work, see Mr. Bichette on it,
With a
okay?
motion to grant.
Oh, that's right. I just closed the
You
hearing.
just closed it. We got to,
Duh. All right, I hope I get better tonight. Okay, now I need a motion to,
Standard order of conditions?
yes, with dewatering. So,
I move that we accept the project as written with a standard order of conditions and dewatering if needed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, thank you.
Thank you.
The next hearing, before you read it, I am going to step away. I am in a butter. And I will leave the table. Ron, it's in yours now.
Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 320, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on the notice of intent for Paul Valenti, Co., GAF Engineering Incorporated, 266 Main Street, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571, to demolish an existing dwelling and to reconstruct a new dwelling in the same footprint and to construct an attached garage located on Assessor's Map 39, Lot M10, 75 Oak Street, Wareham, Massachusetts. All right, Mr. Bichette will read to the hearing and go from there.
Let's get the representative.
And the representative for this project?
Mr. Chairman, Bob Rogers with GAF Engineering.
Thank you. Mr. Bichette?
Okay, so the project site is at 75 Oak Street, and the project involves the demolition of an existing dwelling and the reconstruction of a new dwelling and garage in the buffer zone to a coastal bank. The existing dwelling is to be demolished and a new home built in the same footprint, and then a new 22 by 28 foot garage is also proposed to be added to the front of that new dwelling. Again, the dwelling is to be in the same footprint as it is currently, and the new garage would be between the house and the street. The existing dwelling is within the 30-foot no activity zone, but again, it's going to be in the same footprint, so there's no new activity there. A new driveway would be installed from the street to the garage, and there was a small area shown on the plan to be cleared in the 30-foot no activity zone. I spoke to the engineer about that, and he said that is something that was not required, so I would recommend that that not be part of the approval. Hay bales and silt fence are proposed between the work and the resource area. We did get a DEP file number for the project, so I would recommend the issuance of the order of conditions with the standard conditions for the project.
Anything to add?
Yes, so I did speak with David on the phone, and unfortunately, I didn't have the plan in front of me. You know, I still agree with what he said. We have no intention of taking trees down within the 30-foot no activity zone. It's this corner right here where we're putting in the gas line, and you can see where the existing house is. So I think that's the edge of the canopy that we located, and so I think in this area, you know, generally when it's heavily wooded, we would just locate the edge of the canopy versus those individual trees that we located in the front yard. So I think probably, you know, if we can hold tight to that spot, but if it's just some limbs to keep, you know, to keep the limbs away from the new garage, they just, obviously they need a certain amount of room to work. So
Yeah, that's all right, as long as they're not going to clear trees.
Yeah, right. So I would agree with the conditions as long as we can, you know, just cut some of the limbs only.
So basically just,
That
you know,
area.
any minor clearing that might need to make it actually happen rather than
Yeah,
just,
no tree removal,
dewooding.
but that the limbing of large trees is allowed at that location.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, questions from the board? Carol?
No questions.
Oh, I wanted to find out, the old garage and the old driveway are still staying there,
Yes.
untouched? Okay.
Yeah, he'll use it as a shop or a second garage, or it's just, it's a very steep grade. It's just, there's no real reason to not keep using it. You know, he was very surprised when I informed him that he couldn't rebuild this house to a wider footprint. And so he did some work with a contractor and an architect to work it so that the new house could have the garage, you know, everything would be towards the street and not, because he very much wanted to make a larger house lengthwise. And
Thank you.
Michael?
No questions?
And I don't have any questions either. I think they've all been answered with what's been described.
Standard order of conditions?
Well, I'm going to close the hearing first. I need a motion.
Just ask for public comment.
Oh, I'm
before-
sorry. Yep. Is anybody here to speak for or against this project? I'll take a motion.
I move we close the hearing.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hearing is closed.
I move that we accept this project as written with the standard order of conditions.
I have a motion. I need a second.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 thank you all.
Right, before you start any work, just make sure you see Mr. Bichette.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm surprised they're not removing one of the trees.
Unplug me.
In the way for the driveway.
Want me to get up?
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, I can unplug. I think I have enough.
Swivel and
I have
get up.
enough juice.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that I have returned for the next hearing, please.
Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 320, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on the notice of intent for Thomas Parento, Co. Cape and Islands Engineering Incorporated, 800 Falmouth Road, Suite 301C, Mashpee, Massachusetts, 02649, to construct a pier, ramp, and float system located on Assessors Map 20, Lot 1035-B, 17 Over Jordan Road, Wareham, Massachusetts.
Thank you. The applicant has requested a continuance. Is there anybody here to speak to this project? Okay. He's asked until, what, August 18th?
Correct.
Do you want to read the project or wait until next week?
That's up to you. I'd rather just maybe wait till next week because there's nobody here to discuss it.
So we'll read the project next week, but we need a motion to
Motion to
continue.
continue to August 18th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. It's continued until the August 8th,
18.
18th. I am not
continue
here
tonight.
tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would only be 4 days from now, Sandy.
Thank you.
All about these young people.
I'm back.
Continued public hearings, William and Jean Wallen. Whalen, sorry.
All right.
Please step up and identify yourself when you get in front of the microphone, please.
Hi, I'm Jean Whalen.
Thank you.
Bob Rogers, Madam Chair, GAF Engineering. So we have not made any plan changes, unless you want Dave to say that we haven't made any changes first.
Well, Mr. Bichette will read to the project.
Yeah, I'll just rebrief it for some of the members who might not have been here. So this project site is at 11 Gitche-Gumee Road, and this filing is being made in response to an enforcement order that was issued for work that involved the construction of a retaining wall at the top of a coastal bank at the site with no permits or approvals from the Conservation Commission. So a concrete block wall, approximately 43 feet in length, was installed along the top of the coastal bank. So at the last meeting, the applicant and the representative were here to discuss the matter. Some members were going to go and take a look at this a little bit more closely, and then discuss the matter again at tonight's meeting. So as mentioned by Bob, they haven't made any plan changes at this point, and so we can discuss what should happen next. It was my recommendation that the wall would not be something that we would have permitted had it been presented to us in the manner that it was constructed, so that should be denied and be required to be removed, and the area restored through another stabilization methodology. So that's where things had been left, and so I'll let Bob take it from there.
Thank you, David. Yeah, so last meeting I was here with William Whalen. So this is his wife, Jean Whalen, and she didn't have an opportunity to attend the meeting, and so she just would like some of her questions to be answered, and we would like to, I think we have several options. I don't think that the top of this coastal bank, it's so high up, and it's not subject to very much erosion. So I think there are a number of vegetative solutions that we could come up with, but I guess we just want to have a little bit more of a discussion so that it would give the Whalens, as much information as they could so they can make a decision on how they would like to proceed with the knowledge of what the commission wants to see out there.
Okay.
Sandy, just quickly, do we have any pictures of the work that was done?
She's
brought a
brought,
whole bunch, yeah.
some pictures that maybe
That was done.
maybe we can distribute them so that.
Well, I only have one copy of it. This is my wall from my yard.
Yeah, sure.
Two views,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, okay. So, yeah, I think we just.
Yeah, that'd be
And
great.
we
I
had
mean, if you got
pictures from
some.
last, okay, and here,
There's some on my phone.
and here's some more.
I don't know if anybody wants to see them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I dropped off.
Yes, you did.
last
We
time.
have some in the folder. So, Jean, you had some questions for us?
Yes, please. First of all, I want to apologize. It was like total stupidity and, I don't know, being naive and not understanding the gravity of it. I mean, I know it's my fault. I feel terrible, and hindsight is 20/20, but I know that's all too late. But, I just wanted to approach the board for some help, because I have, all these pictures of all the walls in my neighborhood, and nobody else had to take a wall down. I don't know, permit or no permit. And to me, I feel like, we're working people. I'm 69 and still working, and all the expense of putting the wall up, I'm concerned for us, of course. I'm always concerned for the environment. But I'm just hoping that you can work with me somehow to resolve this without having to completely take it out. That's from me, that, I know that's not your view, that's mine. But I have pictures of 9 Gitchigumi, I have, let me see, I'm 11, 9, and 7. Of one guy has 3 walls. This guy, 2 houses over, has 3 walls that he didn't have to take down. I don't understand. To me, it seems like more detrimental to pull all that earth up and do whatever. I don't understand why we have to take this wall out. I'm sorry. It's just very, very hard for me to understand. Usually, whatever happens in life, if it's a problem, you figure it out and you resolve it. I'm just appealing for some help. That's all. That's all. And like I said, it's my fault. I'm sorry. It was, a life lesson that I learned the hard way. But I do have all the pictures. I have 9, I have 7 and 9, and these are all the houses on Wychunas. I mean, there's giant walls everywhere that no one has ever been forced to take down. I just don't understand.
Well, without going and looking at each one of these properties, I can't speak to their specific circumstances.
I'm not trying to sell them down the river either. It's just
Right.
I walk around my neighborhood and I thought, well, Wychunas, Cleveland.
But a lot of
everybody
these
has a wall.
walls were built years ago when you may not potentially have needed permits, or some of these people may have obtained permits. So that's the main difference. There's a lot of things that were done many, many years ago that wouldn't be allowed to be done today, but they're already existing, so therefore they're allowed to be there. So this obviously is a brand new situation, so it's got to adhere to today's standards, and that's why we're here to discuss this.
And like I said, I understand that, but
Yeah.
my land used to go like this. Now my land goes like this. There was some kind of a wall years ago. I don't know what it was made of, but there were, you know how when you put a fence in the ground, you pour cement and you put the pole or whatever?
yeah.
There was something there, some kind of a retaining wall before I moved in. And it used to be right at the end of my land, and it went like this. Well, within a few years, it's on the side of the hill like this, like it's sliding down. And like, my only other comment is I feel like I'm being sentenced for a crime of murder when I feel like I should be sentenced for like shoplifting or something. Like, there must be something we can do. I feel there must be something we can do between the town and us, and the mason is sitting right behind me. There must be something I can do to resolve this
So,
without taking it completely down.
so I'm gonna, I mean, anybody that knows me and has attended a bunch of meetings understands my position on any, on permitted work or, permitted work that was done that was out of the scope of the project. Is I can understand where you're coming from as far as, hey, you know what, I made a mistake, I'm gonna own the mistake.
Yes, I know that, yep.
But, consistency is something that I've preached from day one since I've been on this board. And to make a change in that consistency now, one, wouldn't be fair to the projects that weren't supposed to happen, that happened, that we had to make them rectify. And it wouldn't do any justice for projects in the future. So understanding that, yeah, it's a mistake, but, we have to own the mistake sometimes, and sometimes it costs us money, sometimes it doesn't. So my feeling won't change. I mean, I remember this project when I think the first time we had this project, I think we met with just the mason. I don't think that if my memory serves me correctly, it was just the mason. It wasn't the homeowner. And, so my stance won't change from that day. I understand. I can empathize to the situation, but my stance can't change because it would make my decision waver in the consistency that I've had from the beginning, and that I will continue to hold until the day that I don't serve the town and serve the people of the town. So that's just, I understand it, but for me, I couldn't change my decision because it would make me waver in what I've done in the past. So that's just me being transparent and, as honest as I can be with you, to understand the situation, but, not to change my decision because
Yeah.
it would change the consistency of how I've acted.
Okay. Carol?
No questions.
Michael?
No questions?
Denise?
I agree with Ron, basically, for consistency's sake.
My question is, how much fill has gone in behind this wall?
You didn't bring, you'd have to ask, I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak out of turn. This is James Lavelle, the mason from Red Brook.
Hello.
Hi,
Mason.
James.
Yeah, the only fill that's behind the wall is the fill I originally dug out of there to fill the foundation of stone. So yeah.
So you just added back to what you removed to make the base before you put the wall up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just took the dirt out and put it back? Is that what happened?
No.
My dirt, I mean. I don't mean to sound
I think
stupid.
what occurred is he dug a trench to put the stone in for the base, and that dirt is what is now behind the wall.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, if I take a look at the pictures, there is one level of stone above the soil that's there now. When I took a picture last October, there are 3 levels of stone, so that tells me there's been a lot of fill.
I think, no, it was all pushed to the side. I think you just pushed it back.
So
Somewhere I have pictures of when he
There-
originally did it.
That's in the fall. That's what it looked like in the fall. You can see that,
there's been a little bit here and some
you know, yeah, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
maybe it's erosion.
What was there before any work was done? Was there a wall? Stones?
No, I believe, a fence?
Okay,
I don't know what it was. I just know there was something there. There were the posts, like they had something.
This deck that's in the picture,
It's not
is that,
theirs.
is that the abutters
no,
property?
that's their butter.
Okay. Yeah, it looks fairly new, that's why I asked.
Yeah, that's actually been there for quite some time, believe it or not.
Has it?
I
It looks really
did a
good.
little research, and that
Yep.
has been there for quite a while.
Okay,
So, I mean, Dave, can you just read what your recommendation was again, on this?
So just to clarify too, there were some additional activities proposed under this notice of intent, which was to reconstruct their existing decks in the same footprint. So my final recommendation will be to approve that work, but not to approve the wall that's been put in place. So I'm assuming if that's the wish of the commission, that the applicant and the representative would want to continue the hearing to come and modify the plan and then bring that back to the commission. So depending on how the commission feels, and my ultimate recommendation is going to be to continue the hearing, but my recommendation for the work would be to remove the installed wall and have the engineer come up with a stabilization plan that involves something that would have been in line with what we would have wanted to see in the first place had this problem been presented to us, which is more of a vegetative stabilization methodology with some other features mixed into that to help stabilize that upper bank. So that's what I would recommend to the commission.
will you be replacing the stairs? It's awful, I can't quite tell on the plan. The stairs that are there now are in awful bad shape.
Oh, no, certainly not the stairs down to the beach.
That will not be,
No, it's not their property.
Okay.
It's trustees of reservations.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the trustees of reservations own a very long, narrow strip. You own 50 by 100-foot lot. So anything beyond where the wall is currently is trustees of reservations.
so there's a hole in the wall right now leading to the steps. Was
I
that,
understand, but there won't be a wall, I'm guessing, in a little bit.
We bought the house 16 years ago, and I knew the woman we bought it from, and it was there when she bought it, which I would guess they go back 30 or more years. I'm just guessing, but we didn't put them in.
now, is it possible? That's an awful steep bank. I'm just thinking out loud. There's a foundation there's a foundation now, and then three layers of stone on top of it.
There's a 6-inch thick stone foundation.
Okay, and then,
And there's 5 courses of retaining wall block.
okay,
How are those 6-inch blocks, 8-inch blocks?
They're 8 inches
8
high.
inch, so you've got, you said 5 of those?
5 of
40, so
those,
was it like 46 inches?
40 inches.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then,
46
and then the foundation,
inches.
okay.
And there's also a 4-inch thick
Cap,
cap.
okay, so it's like 50,
Now-
50 inches, okay.
All of the cells of those blocks are also filled,
What are they filled with cement?
stone.
Stone, okay,
Yeah.
so, okay. So do we want to just continue this to have them go back and look at, the other part of the project? Or do we want to make a determination on the wall tonight and then give them the opportunity to continue for the rest of it? Or how do we want to, what would be the best course of action?
I would say the commission should come to a conclusion as to what they want to see happen with the wall, and then allow the applicant to continue the hearing so they can come up with a redesign to replace that.
Replace the wall and,
If that's the wish of the commission, yes.
okay.
I have a question. The stairs. If that wall is
Use
not
the mic.
replaced-
Turn,
Gotta use the microphone.
use the mic.
The stairs that are there now belong to the land trust, or
I'm pretty sure the
Conservation
land trust probably isn't conscious that these are there, in other words, you know.
okay, but what's going to happen if there's nothing there to attach those stairs to?
Those stairs are just wooden,
Are
just.
they wooden stairs?
No, stone blocks type thing that's put into the side of the, there's no hand railing, there's not
There is
wide,
there's a hand railing.
barely.
Yeah,
All
well,
the way
it's-
down.
It goes all the way down, yeah.
But I wouldn't trust walking on those steps that are embedded in the soil.
Okay, so they're just going to be freestanding and left there?
Yes,
Okay.
I had actually gotten a call from the director of the trustees who had actually gotten notice of this hearing, and he spoke to me about it and said he was going to take a look at the situation and speak to some of the property owners, because there's other property owners too who have, you know, basically created accesses over that land. It's not just the Whalens. So they were going to actually discuss some of these matters with the property owners. So that is going to take place in the near future.
Okay.
So, I mean, I like to think that my memory is really, really good. But I think in the first discussion that we had with this, we had talked about imposing a fine for homeowner and contractor for doing the work. So, I mean, obviously, I think that still needs to be a discussion and what that is. I mean, I think our standard fine has for a project, something like this, has been $300 on both sides, which I think needs to stand based on the first conversation we had. And then we need to talk about rectifying. I think that the wall does need to be removed based on not being permitted and wouldn't have been permitted even if it was proposed. So, you know, my recommendation is that, and then obviously we can discuss a time frame that would be suitable for that, but I'm just one of many members on the board, so that's my stand, that's my recommendation to it, so I'll leave it to the rest of you to decide.
I have no further questions.
I have one question. I'm confused about, you know, we want to replace the deck because it's in pretty bad shape. Is that included in all of this? Like, we cannot put our deck up until?
No, we're just, right now, we're just talking about the wall. The deck, as Dave had mentioned, we would most likely approve that work to be done, but we just want to talk about the wall right now and figure out what we're going to rectify on that, and then give you guys an
Yep.
opportunity to come back with a revised plan for everything, and then, you know, go from there. So right now, we're just strictly discussing the wall.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the other part of the project, you know, at a later time, once you guys have time to, you know, rework some of the plans.
Okay.
Michael,
No questions, thank you.
Denise.
No more questions.
My concern is that when the wall is removed, what will be there to prevent the erosion of that soil that's currently behind the wall? They remove that, you've got almost 2.5 feet of soil that has nothing to retain it from washing down the banking into the wetlands. It isn't just removing of the wall, you're going to want that soil removed. But then again, if you bring it down to grass, I don't think, there's part of me that says this should never have happened, I want it removed, but there's another part saying, how do we put something in place that keeps the erosion and the soil wash off down the hill? If you make it plantings, it will take years for the roots to get sufficient enough to prevent the erosion. I'm sort of tossed between,
Well, I think, Madam Chair, that if we just do do some grading, you know, if we pull the blocks out, we could leave the crushed stone base certainly, and then we would have some space that we could, fill in with the material that's right there. And, the simplest solution might just be sod. That if they buy enough sections of sod, then it's stable from day one, and that might be.
So it would be keeping the base that's there now, but removing the decorative blocks that are on top of it. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm saying, I would propose that at least 4 out of the 5 courses, or even if all 5 courses of the block could be picked up and removed that way, because they're not cemented together or anything. So they could be picked out of there, they could be basically reused somewhere else. But, so now we have, a couple of yards, whatever that amount of.
The crushed stone that was used to
Crushed stone
fill.
that's-
Crushed stone can just stay there, but so some of that fill just gets pushed into that, trench. And then we would do just whatever we could do, maybe, just a 1 in 10 or something, just for enough of an area that, for say 20 feet from the top of Coastal Bank, gets sawed. And it's the perfect time of the year, and it goes right
And
down.
that would take pretty quick, and I
Yeah,
think that
yeah,
would
it just would need
stabilize
to
a
be
lot faster
watered
than natural, yeah.
It would already be stable,
Yep.
barring a heavy rain if something underwashed it.
Yep.
But
Well, I would say also, Madam Chair, is that's what the engineer's role would be to design the stabilization of this site once the wall was removed. So right here in this 2 minutes that we're speaking of, it isn't really adequate for him to review it
No.
and come up with a design. So that's why we would.
But I don't
wanna
want
have
the wall
continuum.
removed until we have a solution in place.
Well, I think
Correct.
that, yeah, I mean, I think if we make a decision as a board to say that the wall needs to be removed, and then we continue for them to come up with a plan, then they would come back to us with a plan, and as
Right.
long as that plan was sufficient, then we would move forward with the removing of the wall and the other work that's proposed on this plan.
Right.
So it's not a remove it tomorrow. I think there would be a
Correct.
plan, because it is not a small area. It does need some time to think about, and, we would want to give you the opportunity to take time to do
But-
what's right.
Can I just make a comment?
Absolutely.
I think that's preposterous, like, if we could leave maybe some of the wall there, but the problem is, our land's been going like this for so long, that is the problem.
So the problem with it, it's either an all or nothing, really. We can't say leave half of it, because then we wouldn't really be doing what we're supposed to be doing, because it's still some of it wouldn't be
I'm telling you,
permitted work.
when I moved there 16 years ago, I used to plant flowers around the edge, and you could see them. If I planted flowers the way it was, you couldn't see them, because it was this much below my land. Like, it just,
No, I mean,
it's
like I said,
washing out.
I understand, but with the engineer, that's kind of what they do. They know how to shore these things up and make them so that they won't erode. And that's,
Okay.
And that would be the purpose of leaving the wall in place until you have the plan. And we come up with, you come up with something that would be approvable, that would stabilize it so it doesn't continue to wash away.
Could James
yeah,
speak?
go ahead if you have.
I think there is enough stone on site, because you have to remember all of those blocks are full.
Yep.
So if you take out the blocks, there's stone is left over, and I think there's sufficient amount of stone to stabilize that whole bank.
Okay.
So that's what, if,
Yep.
the engineer going back and making a plan, maybe the plan will include some of that crushed stone. I mean, that's, that would be up to him to, think of what works and
Yeah.
work with the homeowner and come up with what makes the most sense, and then bring it to us, and then we'll say good, bad, or indifferent.
So we're going to continue the hearing until we have a proposal for the removal and stabilization of the backyard.
So our next meeting dates are August 18th and then September 1st. What would you think, Bob, that you would like to have for time frame to do something with this?
So obviously, we need to speak, so I would request the 18th, and similar to tonight, if we don't, tonight's the last time that we'll be before you without a revised plan.
Yep.
So we'll shoot for the 18th, and if we can't make it happen, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to be very complicated. We would obviously try and get you the plan a few days in advance, certainly, more time the better. But we would request another continuance by email if we're just not ready for the 18th.
So I'll take a motion to continue the hearing until August 18th.
Motion to continue.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Continued until the 18th.
Thank you.
Next hearing. Mario Sonero has asked for a continuation at 29 Edgewater Drive. They want a continuation until 90, what did I say?
29.
29.
I need new glasses.
Yeah, I'm getting
91 Edgewater Drive, would I make them
Motion to continue
until,
until August 18th.
I have a motion to continue.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Continued until August 18. Did I get that one right?
Yes.
Yes.
Next hearing. Russell and Tina Yule at 17A 21 Bayberry Road has asked for a continuation. No?
Not you, no, they're
Oh, no, he's
they're
here.
Oh, I thought it was listed. Oh, it's tucked in, so,
It's tucked in the middle.
okay. And we have a revised plan, and, wait a minute, I gotta find my paper. Here. And who's here to represent the project, please? Identify yourself.
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering.
Brad. All right. Okay, a new plan. This is for the seawall.
Yes.
All right. Your turn, Mr. Bichette.
This project site is at 17 and 21A Bayberry Road, and the project involves a modification of a stone revetment and the reconstruction of a timber retaining wall along the coastal bank and within a coastal flood zone. It's proposed to add additional height to an existing sloped stone revetment by adding another layer of stone to the top of the existing revetment. It's proposed to raise the height of the revetment approximately 1.5 to 2.5 feet from its current height. Originally, this was proposed along the entire length of the existing stone revetment. The plan that we have in front of us tonight has been revised to reduce that to only being done in the portion of where the existing timbers exist on top of that stone revetment. So that is one of the plan changes that we see. Additionally, there was a proposal to take an existing timber wall and replace it with another timber wall. And at the last meeting, I had recommended that that should be also done with a sloped stone wall, since this is within a velocity flood zone, and it's not recommended to put a vertical wall in an area like that when you're reconstructing or replacing it. So the revised plan does show that instead of doing another timber wall in that stretch, that they are going to continue the stone sloped revetment in that area as well. And then they've got a small set of stairs that they're just going to build over the top of that instead of having the recessed stairway that was in the timber wall. So those are some of the major changes here. I'll let Brad kind of go over any other things or points that should be talked about. The revised plan does also show the utilities that go to the shed area. So those were shown now on the plan as well, and that's another topic to discuss. But anyway, I'll let Brad discuss the wall reconstruction in the revised plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Again, Dave and I met on the site early this week to discuss the project. We scaled back the original proposal to limit the length of how much revetment is being added to vertically, and that will be just in the location where there's currently roughly 3 layers or 3 rows of timbers above the revetment. That small timber wall holds back approximately 2 feet of material, and we're going to propose to remove that and replace it with boulders up to the grade that's there today. Originally, we had proposed to bring the elevation of the wall up to about elevation 8.5. We're going to match the grade of the lawn that's just behind the revetment, and that varies between about elevation 7 and elevation 8. So the top of the wall will basically be level with the grass that's there today. As mentioned by Dave, there is a small section of slope, a coastal bank, that was originally protected by a timber wall, which is no longer there. That was originally on the previous plan designed to be replaced with timbers, and that has been changed to stone revetment. That would be a full-height construction that excavate and set toe stones roughly a few feet below grade, below the beach, and then that build it up to the elevation of the grass that's above it. That again varies between elevation around 7, just in that location. To avoid trying to build a recessed stairway area with stones, we're proposing a straight revetment straight across the current footprint of the timber wall, and as David mentioned, constructing a small pressure-treated set of steps. Could be aluminum as well, but I figured just show it as a pressure-treated stairway. We've proposed this a number of times in other towns, and to try to get that stairway to work correctly, we're just proposing a small platform at the top of the revetment, same width as the stairway, 4 feet, to allow the platform to just cantilever over the top of the revetment, and just enough to get a set of steps constructed. The lower section can be fabricated to be supported by the existing stones, as opposed to setting any sonotubes in the coastal beach. So I think that this change in the revetment addresses some of the concerns of the agent and the board, or the commission. They had some, I know this commission had some concerns with the height being elevated higher than what's there today, and we've scaled that back down. I've also shown a couple utilities you questioned last time. That was filed, actually the garage was filed under a separate order of conditions, which I believe is still open. I showed those utilities on this plan as an option of being reviewed under this current notice, or there's obviously the option to request us to come back as an amended under the previous order, just to approve something that's already been built. Again, I think that it was an oversight, and it was kind of anticipated on our end that it may be installed or would be installed, and obviously it's work that was in an area that's permittable outside the 30-foot no-touch zone. But I'd leave it up to the commission as to whether they want to review it under this current notice or as an amendment under the prior notice.
Comment?
No comment.
So the deck and the utilities that we're talking about, not the deck, the garage, what have you, that was a different application at some point, you know.
Yes.
Can you fill me in, because this is probably before my time, so.
Back in May 2020, we have a notice of intent to construct a freestanding garage. That's what started it. Then on a hearing of March 3rd, 2021, they came back with a amendment order of condition to allow for the driveway, which had been said would never be done under the first order of conditions, quote unquote. We won't need a driveway. Came back and did an amend, so we have amended order of conditions for the driveway. Maybe we do a second amendment order of conditions for the utilities going to the garage, so that they're all on one order of conditions, and this stays alone as a seawall.
Yeah, I would agree that this project before us today should be separate from the utilities and add it as an amendment, so that just a trail of keeping everything consistent. I think
That's perfectly fine.
I think that makes the most sense, just to do an amendment and come back before us with that just to keep that project as one.
All right. Did I have, there was something, I can't find my notes. I had something, maybe it was another project, so I went looking for the original freestanding, then the driveway. So one more amended order of conditions from the original one, for the utilities. No more utilities. No septic, no nothing. It's going to be water and electricity. That's it, right?
Yes.
So what's the water draining to now that's being used in that garage?
As far as I understand, there's no plumbing within it. It might
No
be,
plumbing, it's just
might be
electrical?
like for a hose spigot.
Yeah, there's spigots on the outside.
And electric on the outside also.
Yeah.
I thought this was a
And
shed, though.
there's a deck overlooking the ocean from the
The plan says,
from one of the sides, that there's a deck overlooking the
it
ocean.
says a freestanding garage. We only dealt with the footprint of the garage, all outside of our 30-foot no-work zone. If they make it 1, 2, or 3 stories, that's up with planning and something else above and beyond what we would have any say on. If they put a nice little deck on it with big picture windows, that's
I mean, that
not-
That's not our
looks more like a little house to me than a garage. But,
okay.
It's my
so
understanding.
there's no plumbing inside at all, it's just on the outside?
As far as I understand, we didn't submit the application. We prepared the site plan
Okay,
for permitting. Somebody else another firm had
done the
done the permitting.
permitting for the work. Okay.
Because if there's water inside, then we'd need at least a dry well or
need some-
something,
yeah, you
yeah,
would need
for
some.
runoff. But if you walk around the garage, it's really surrounded by stone, so any spigots that are there would be draining into
Draining
the
into the
stone.
stone, yeah.
That's, but we saw hoses there to water the grass, so that's it.
Yeah, so I think just coming back with an amendment for the utilities would be the best course of action, but as long as everybody else would agree to that, I'm just one of 5 to make that decision, so.
I think that makes the most sense.
Yep. Now, with that said, for the utilities, what would you like to do with the existing? Is this all coming back to me?
Yeah, this is all Dave's.
Dave's. Whoops, sorry.
Michael gave me that to take a view.
Okay, so there's that, the top picture goes to Michael. So what would you like to do, anybody, on the hearing for the seawall?
I mean, I think the changes are definitely
Yeah, I will.
good, and reducing the level of elevation. So
Anybody
I
want one?
I don't have any issues with the revised plan.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to comment on this project? I heard your comments. Anything else, Carol?
No comments, no.
So so it's just, so all the work's gonna be done above above, or basically on the sea level, on the seawall? It's not gonna be, there's gonna be
Yeah, no
No backs on
vehicles on
either.
the beach. Every,
vehicles on the beach either, nothing?
all access would be from, I kind of showed some arrows kind of coming down the driveway where
Oh, I see.
anticipated access would be. Granted, there'd be a machine not sitting above it, but reaching down to the beach to do the
But,
work.
but working from the upland areas.
But working from the upland side.
This plan did cover everything that I was concerned about. You had mentioned that the property, though, or where you're doing the work is owned by the association. Do they need permission from the association to do this, or has that
Yeah,
been?
we reached out to them and they had no issues.
No issues,
They're
okay.
actually part of this application, so it'll tie together with both deeds, and it'll be, both properties will be subject to this order of conditions and future release after all work is completed.
Thank you.
So Dave, are there any conditions other than the standard conditions that would be applied to this project?
I would say that there should be no machinery on the beach, no stockpiling of materials on the beach. I would say,
I can't write that fast.
okay.
Isn't this taped?
Yes,
Oh, okay, sorry.
my notes to review the minutes. Okay,
And all materials from the existing timber wall to be removed from the site and disposed of appropriately. And I think that's pretty much would cover it.
and I really want to state, sorry, low nitrogen, slow releasing. I don't want to see green grass like there is there now. That tells me there's a lot of nitrogen going on there to maintain that pretty green lawn. Just
That's
a
the
note.
reason why they put a driveway in, to get rid of all that lawn.
That didn't
Okay,
work.
so no comments from the audience, so if we're ready,
Motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Hearing is closed.
All right, let's take a stab at all of these additional. So I move that we approve the project with the standard order of conditions with the added conditions of all work to be done on the upland side of the wall. No stockpiling of materials on site.
Beach.
On the beach.
Yeah.
No stockpiling on the beach. Removal of all old timbers off-site, and low nitrogen reducing,
Slow
slow
releasing
releasing
fertilizer.
fertilizer to be used.
Do we have
Per-
to state that we're taking the garage part of it out?
No,
No,
Plans? Okay,
because he just showed that on the plan, but
okay. It's
we-
not part
yeah,
of
it's
this.
not part of this.
Okay.
So that is the motion.
that is the
Second.
motion. I have a second, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, abstained.
Thank you.
See, Dave, before you start anything,
Will do.
I keep saying that, but we find people starting the work before Dave has a chance to review, so we just keep repeating. Okay,
Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
next hearing. George and Carrie Barrett has asked for a continuance until August 18.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, it's continued. We have a request for a continuation from Scott and Laura Christofoli. Is there anybody here for that hearing? Okay. They would like to continue until August 18.
Motion to continue.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's continued until August 18th. The next one is the BERE LLC, Beals and Thomas for off North Carver Road, has asked for a continuation until August 18.
Motion to continue.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. It's continued until August 18th. Wareham MA3 LLC at 91 and 101 Faring Hill Road has asked for a continuation until August 18.
Motion to continue.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to continue. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, it's continued. We're down to enforcement orders.
This first one on the list at 11 Wareham Ave, this is the construction of the shed along Heinz Field there. I did go over to the site and reviewed that a little bit more closely to gauge the edge of the wetland. And so, in my opinion, the edge of the wetland is fairly close to where that is. So I would say that that shed would have to move because it's within the 30-foot no activity zone. So I had spoken to the owner, and I'm going to be meeting with her there in the next couple of weeks. She's not available next week, but to discuss relocating that. So I don't have anything more to add to that at this point, other than to say that we are going to be meeting there to discuss relocating that structure.
Thank you. Next.
The next one,
I have comments on that.
oh.
On the
okay.
shed?
Yes,
Okay,
here or up there?
might as well come up here and identify yourself.
Does it matter? Holly Haratunian, neighbor. Regarding the enforcement order for 11 Wareham Ave, I'm really kind of horrified by it because I feel like the town is building, or municipal maintenance, is building a parking lot around that woman's property. And they're allowed to build a parking lot with light pollution.
Well, first of all, I'll stop you
I'm
there.
gonna say-
Because nobody's applied for anything yet, okay? There's been no actual application submitted for that project, so.
I'm glad to hear you say that because they make it sound, and when I spoke to them, it sounded like it was a done
There's
deal.
work being discussed, but absolutely nothing has come before us
Right.
for
Okay,
any
great.
formal hearing.
Great.
And we're well aware of the wetlands that are there. We're all concerned about
Good, I'm
that
glad.
impact. So Holly, we will not let it happen.
Thank you so much. There's a bunch of us who are concerned, and I appreciate that you know that.
We were invited, Dave and I were invited to walk the area with several officials for the municipal maintenance and Ken
Okay.
Buckland and whatever, to give us an idea what they're planning, but until they come before us, nothing happens.
Okay.
There's gonna be a full public hearing.
Excellent. I thought this was a case where the average taxpayer gets punished, but the
No,
town
no,
gets to
no,
sneak it in.
no,
Excellent.
no.
Let me just say one other thing on that, and you'll be hearing this again.
There's no discriminating
I've
factors.
seen
Everybody,
it before.
everybody
Meet me
has
for
to.
coffee. Anyway, we don't need to go there, but we both know. I had one other question. Who is the wonderful woman on your Zoom meetings with the cat? Who is that?
Debbie has a cat.
No, it wasn't you. I know Sandy.
You mean Mary
Mary?
Taggart, who has resigned?
Oh, I loved her. She had I just want to say she had a small devoted fan club. We just thought she was neat.
She always had her cat with
I have
her
I have
on
little
the-
children. Does that count?
No, she had a tuxedo cat. It won.
Yeah, so, yes, Mary has resigned from the commission.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And I do hope that you all allow your meetings on Zoom. I want more and more people who care to participate in town, and I think Zoom is an excellent way to do it. For the simple fact of whether you have children or a job or whatever, by the time dinner time comes, nobody wants to go to a meeting and
Okay.
nobody participates.
Thank you.
So I hope you do that. And I have pictures of the the wetlands border that just keeps going back. It used to be even with the phone pole. Somebody keeps mowing that back. I have dated pictures, measurements, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Next one.
The next site was a situation where we had issued an enforcement order for some work that was done at 4 Wareham Lakeshore Drive, which involved the construction of patios and some retaining walls and things of that nature with no permits. The owners did attend a previous meeting, and then Concom members were going to go take a look at that. The owners are preparing or having a notice of intent prepared for that site. They have an engineer that's involved, and so we're just waiting for that to be submitted. They had asked the commission if they could plant some grass in certain areas, and commission members were going to take a look and maybe respond. So I don't have anything more on that.
All right, I went out there. What beautiful stonework. Nothing permitted.
It's gorgeous.
It's very nice.
But I'm not sure where they wanted to put the grass, up on the hill where they park the cars?
I think up in that zone leading down to the lower patio, yeah.
I have no problem with planting a grass in that area,
Yeah, that's fine.
you know. So while I went out there, the engineers were there doing their measurements in order to
Okay.
do an NOI, so it is coming. It is coming. So I don't know what was established beforehand and they upgraded it or whatever, but we'll hear when they come before us. So that's that one. And I guess there's nothing on 33 East Boulevard?
No,
Thought we were gonna
I'm
do an
still
in-
waiting to hear some response too from the town attorney.
Okay, so we're waiting for Mr. Bowen on that one. In the meantime, we don't serve.
No, we can still do that.
I thought we were
still
going to serve
Yeah, I
the
just
owner
haven't
with,
quite gotten to that, but I will try
with
to
everything.
get to that.
Oh, honest, with everything else? Wow, okay, we have something here. We have been, you may have heard that there is a solar bylaw committee being formed. And the Board of Selectmen are forming it, and it was recommended that someone from Open Space/Conservation be appointed to the Solar Bylaw Committee. I don't know how often it's going to meet. I don't know when it's meeting, and I would like to know, is there anybody here who might be interested in? I know their target is to try to get a bylaw done for the October fall town meeting, and articles are due early September. I don't know how you're ever going to get a bylaw done in order to meet their deadline for a September deadline.
So
Sorry.
are they asking for one singular person that represents both
Yes.
that board and that?
Yeah, for those that are on both boards.
So that leaves Sandy out, because you have plenty of other things to deal with.
And that leaves you and Carol. You both
so-
serve on open space and you both serve on conservation. Would
So
either
I
of you?
think a little bit more information, maybe.
I have none.
So who's supposed to head that?
Don't know yet.
So a lot of unknowns.
A tremendous amount of unknowns. As I said, I don't know when, I don't know how. I know that Nancy McHale will be a representative from the conservation entities, like Land Trust and whatever.
Okay.
There's going to be somebody there from small farms and stuff like that. They're looking for solar projects of small entities, so
But these people would all be appointed by the selectmen,
that would be,
correct?
it would be recommended by us and appointed by the selectmen as the final say, because they are the appointing authority for this solar bylaw committee.
So the selectmen would presumably determine when or how often they would meet, or
No, I think the selectmen will approve people on it. The group would get together and talk about how and when they meet.
I see,
The
okay.
selectmen will not tell them when they can meet, but if you get a group of them together,
And they want a bylaw written for
and that's,
fall town meeting.
you wait one second. So, I mean, that's, the plan is to try, I have no idea how they could ever get it done in time for a fall town meeting.
That's a
but-
short window.
But in the meantime, the existing bylaw, once approved by the Attorney General, being the limit of the 5 acre on previously cleared,
Yep.
will be in effect. Yeah, you want to come up and make a comment on that? Because I know you've been attending some planning meetings, and it's part of, there'll be a planning representative on the committee.
Hi, Tricia Wertz. I have, Sandy and folks, I've also been involved with following closely what's happening with solar farms in our area and in the state and in some places in the country. So what we're finding in Wareham, for example, we're due to have 2,500 acres of solar farm if all the things that are up to be voted on happen right now.
Now, are you talking about the solar bylaw committee?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. So there is a concern that because Wareham's current solar bylaw is so vague and so open, that the particular engineers who focus in this area, the utility companies are having a field day in eating up acreage in Wareham, where, for example, if you look at Mattapoisett, they have under, I think, 7 acres, and Marion's about the same.
good point.
They need quickly to redo our bylaw so that we are in sync with what's really happening in the state and the town, and it has to cover a lot more than it has covered previously. For example, there's nothing in it extensively about wetlands, there's nothing in it extensively about lithium batteries, there's a number of things that
There's a lot of things that need to be reviewed.
that
Yes,
the current bylaw just doesn't even
Okay.
touch.
So, I mean, the intent was try to get it done for fall, and I have no idea how anybody can work that way to make a September deadline for an article. So the question is there anybody on this committee that might be interested in serving as a representative
Yes.
for open space plus conservation? And I heard Ron
Yes.
say yes. All right. I would like to have a motion to recommend Ron be appointed as our representative so I can send it to the selectmen.
I move that we appoint Ron to be our
No,
representative.
recommend appointment.
Recommend that the selectmen appoint Ron to the committee representing both Conservation Commission and Open Space Committee.
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Should I be saying aye also?
Yes, please.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Aye.
Just wanna make sure.
Heads up for anybody, the same topic will be placed on it's been placed on the open space agenda for our meeting on Monday. So open space will also confirm that Ron may vote to have Ron be their representative as open space / conservation.
Right.
Is there anything else from anybody else? In the back, did you have any comments, or you just came to listen? Okay.
So,
Anything from you, sir? Any other?
I'm just listening.
You're still listening.
Next meeting.
See you in next meeting, August 18th.
motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Second.
Oh, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7:42.
43. That's on.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.